Today we're gonna do another Raid the Fridge special. I had a couple items in my crisper that are about to go bad, so I decided let me throw something together real quick and see if I could make a nice little meal out of this. So I have some celery and some chive here, and as you can see from the discoloration that's happening, that they're on the way out, but you know, they still have some life in them, so we're still gonna use it. I also have some eggplant or baigan here that on its way out as well, and you can tell from these little spots and things that, you know, this is about to spoil, but it ain't gone yet. So what I would do is remove the skin from it, and we will do something with that. And just to jazz it up a little bit, I have some chana here that we're gonna use. I had some black olives. I'm gonna throw that in as well, and I'll be using my tomato sauce. So yeah, let me get this going. So as you can see here, the melangen not half bad at all. And this one in particular still have plenty life in it. So I wouldn't remove the skin from this one because the skin on this one still looking good. You don't have, you know, much spoilage going on here, so, or any spoilage as a matter of fact. So I will keep the skin on. I'm just gonna cut these into bite-sized chunks. Now let's see how the second one looking. There's the side that had a little spoilage on it, so I'm gonna cut this. And this one not looking bad either. It's just like right here that have a little something, so I'll just kind of cut off this little piece here. And keep the skin on. So I don't want the eggplant to turn to mush in this dish. So what I'm gonna do is cook it off before I add the other stuff. So I'm gonna go in with some oil, put the melangen in, season with a little bit of salt and black pepper. And I'm gonna cook this separate to the other aromatics and that kind of thing. Just give it a little toss. And now we're just gonna cover this on medium to low heat and let this cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. So while the eggplant cooking, I'm gonna prep the other ingredients. I have the celery here. Just gonna cut it down like this. Just gonna get a fine chop. And the good thing about, you know, these kind of raid the fridge, raid the cupboard dishes is that, you know, you could literally use anything that you have in your fridge or your cupboard, throw it together and come up with something real nice for lunch or dinner. So, you know, it's just all about getting creative with the ingredients that you have and making sure that, you know, your food don't go to waste. You know, sometimes you buy stuff in the market or in the grocery with the full intention of, you know, making certain dishes, and then you end up getting busy and they end up staying too long in the fridge. And when they do hear the shout, it's time to throw them out, or they're looking like they need to be thrown out. Well, you know, I think the good thing with dishes like this is that, you know, you could throw together a lot of different ingredients and come up with something real nice, real flavorful. And I actually mentioned to a friend of mine that I had, you know, some eggplant and thing going bad in the fridge, and she recommended this dish called caponata, which is an Italian dish. And it's basically very similar to what I'm doing here. It uses, you know, eggplant, onion, garlic, tomatoes, olives, and it's a kind of veggie stew. So basically we're doing a version of caponata using, you know, similar ingredients but not the same. They use green olives. I have some black olives here, using that instead. You see these recipes online, and even watching this recipe, you might want to follow it to a T. But it's really about experimentation. It's not really so much about following every single recipe that I do to the letter. It's just me giving you ideas, especially with these raid the fridge, raid the cupboard type recipes that I would do. It's more about the approach than the final dish. All right, so eggplant done. As you can see here, looking good. Kind of mash up a little bit, but that's all right. Some of them. Gonna transfer it into a bowl. All right, so you're gonna continue. Add a little bit of oil to the pan. And don't worry about these little bits of eggplant there. All that is added flavor. So, going in with some onions, garlic, some pimentos, celery, season with a little bit of salt, black pepper. Gonna add the chana. And I'm gonna add half the size. And leave the rest for later on in the cooking process. At this point, I'm going in with some of my tomato sauce. And if you want to use fresh tomatoes, by all means, use fresh tomatoes. All right, so now that everything looking like it come together, I'm gonna add back the eggplant, add in the black olives. I'm gonna toss this gently, as you really don't want the eggplant to mash up any more than it's already mashed. Still want to have some nice chunks there. I'm going to add the chive. And just like that, in under 30 minutes, we have a real nice vegetable stew, or a real nice local caponata going on here. And I ain't tasted it yet, but just from the way it's smelling, I already know this is gonna taste real good. I have a little bit of leftover couscous here. Just gonna add some of that. Add some of our veggie stew. I'm just going for a little taste here. And the great thing about this dish is, it's not just different flavors, but different textures as well. As you notice, I didn't cut up anything small. So you have, nice chunky pimentos, onion, you have the chana, you have the eggplant, and all of that is coming together to just form like a nice big burst of flavor in your mouth when you're digging. So try this, trust me. It's saying things. You don't have to stick to this exact recipe. These Raid the Fridge specials is really about utilizing whatever you have in your fridge and in your cupboard and coming up with something creative, coming up with something delicious. If you like this recipe, please give the video a thumbs up and give it a share. And if you do try it, make sure to tag us in your photos on social media. As always, a full link to the recipe will be found in the video description. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do so. Every subscribe counts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.